One of the most common processes that companies want to automate is an approval process. Why? Because this can be applied to many different fields, whether that's a document approval process, an expense reimbursement process. This can be used in many different departments with a few tweaks. So today we're going to be going over a very simple but effective document approval process, which you can easily replicate within your Zenfi workspace. So this specific example starts with a form. We're using a Zenfi form where they can easily upload the file to review. Here I'm using the lookup function that is available within Zenfi Forms. That way they can select who should be in charge of the approving process. So I've previously created a list of reviewers within my table, which I will show in a second. So we have the different departments and you can add the emails, so you can add as many as you want, and that way they can easily just select who it should be going to, and depending on who is selected, Zenfi will know who it should send the task to. So what we're going to do first is get that approver's email. So we'll look up the table based on who was selected and be able to retrieve the department and the email. And what we're going to do is send it for approval. So here what I'm using is a state machine. Now what's great about a state machine is it's going to allow you to be able to go back and forth. So it can go to the reviewer, go back to the requester, back to the reviewer, back to the requester until it's time for the document to be completed. So we're going to use the state machine. Here you can add different states, which essentially is different branches which you can hop back and forth from. So we're going to use our request data to be able to configure a form. And here they're able to choose if they approve, if they reject, any comments, and then the file name to save the document with after it's been approved. So here I've also set up some rules. I'm going to have a video link down below in the description that goes more in depth into Zenfi Forms and how you can configure rules, because if this is rejected, they won't be able to see this additional field. So you can set up different rules within your form as well. You can choose who it's going to, which in this case comes from our table. If you have multiple reviewers, you can also update this information, add reminders, add expiry, and you can always update these emails as well. So if you want to be able to attach the file, you can do that. If you want to add more information to the body. And now using an if condition, we're going to decide if this should leave the state machine or if it should go to the next branch. So if it's been approved, what it's going to do is save the comments and the file name in a variable. And what it's going to do is exit the approval process, so it hop over to the save file action. However, if it wasn't approved, it's going to be sent back to the requester. So it's going to hop this way. And we have a new form where they can update the file. They can make the modifications and upload it here. Here we have the comments. That way they can easily see what they need to change. And then once again, you can set up reminders. You can set up expiry. We're going to set the new file name. We're going to go ahead and update the current version, because I'm also keeping track of what version of the document we're currently in. That way we have V1, V2, V3, etc. And it's going to be sent back for review using our change state action. So this is the action that's going to allow you to be able to hop back and forth. So for example here, it would be sent back over here. This is going to send it back to the initial branch here, and that way you can make sure that it only gets approved until everyone has looked at it. So if you have multiple branches, maybe you have an editor, maybe you have a legal team, this is going to make it simple to be able to send the document from one department to the other. And only once it has been approved, we're going to go ahead and save the file in whatever folder we want and be able to send the approval message to the requester. So you can really customize this process if you want to add more branches, if you want to notify instead of via email, you want to send a Google chat, even a text message using Twilio, you can do that. So as you can see, in just a few minutes, you can easily create an approval process. If you also want to take it one step further and create dashboards, you can do that. That way you can easily see which files you have to review. You can submit a new file for review. If you've submitted files, you can also see what status they're in. And you can see an overall view of all of the files. So this can be kind of like a backlog. That way you can easily see what stage each of the files are in if you're an admin, for example. So yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments section and let us know what process you'd like us to help you automate. Thank you so much for watching.